It's a relatively modern thing where we see death as something, oh, that we can't talk about it. That wasn't the way it was in ancient times.
Got it.
Right? And if your philosophical approach is, it's not that death means the end of everything. There is actually a life beyond that. And that was our ancient Indic traditions.
Right.
Then death is not something to be so scared of.
Sure.
Right? It's in a way like a much longer sleep. That's all. And Dharmaraj says, wisdom does not invest in simplicity.
Wow, Amish!
How's it going, Mari?
All good.
We are going to roll.
Welcome to the 5th episode of Life Unscripted. And those of you who've been following this series, you know what we try to do, right? We try and pick up strands from different perspectives and decode those perspectives and weave it into the world of life insurance and financial planning. So guys, it's a great privilege and pleasure to have on the show today none other than Amish Tripathi. Amish, great to have you on board.
How's it going?
Absolutely fine.
Namaste, everyone.
Yes, Amish, and you know guys, before I get into the specifics, other big thing about Amish is that I am personally very happy about is that both of us are from the same alma mater. I am Calcutta, and we discovered that we're from the same hostel. So Amish,
I'm Xerox.
I am Xerox, love and peace. You want to show a gang sign or something? All right. Before we get into the specifics, you know, all of us know in the last 15 years, Amish from the world of literature, and Amish from the time of the Immortals of Meluha, and that was set him off on a different journey. But before Amish got into this world, there was also another world that he was a part of, which coincidentally was the world that I am very much a part of today, financial planning and more specifically life insurance. So Amish, you know, really happy because you bring to the table both perspectives, right? The world that you're a part of now and your past world, and I thought there can be none other than you who can try and bring some of these disparate strands together. So tell us, I'm sure a lot of us who have been following your work know a little bit about how the transition happened, but just to get the ball rolling for today's episode, talk us to that, from the world of ULIPs and actuarial and service quality and brands and products to your journey as an author. Just talk us to that.
I wrote my first 2 books along with my job actually. So there was this 5-6 year period when I was burning the candle at both ends. As you know, life insurance is a hard working industry.
Yes, all of us work hard. In case you're my boss, I work really hard in office.
6 days a week, 12-13 hours, you know that, right?
Yeah.
And I used to write on Sundays, and I used to write on my office commute. So I used to write on the backseat of my car.
Wow.
Most of the books, the first 2 books.
For once Bombay traffic came to your help.
For once Bombay traffic came to my help.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So and I used to, you know, promote the books on Sundays. My first book had been rejected by every publisher it had gone to, so I self-published.
Nice.
But I think the key lesson for me, which might be interesting for your viewers, is actually how I made that transition. Many of us get these creative ideas, right? And the stupidest thing to do is to follow that, you know, Bollywood. We are in Planet Hollywood, so follow that Bollywood, Hollywood thing that I'm going to follow my heart, you know, and I'm going to kick my boss like, bhar mein jao. It's not wise.
Okay.
Right? A good life is one where you can marry your mind and your heart.
Nice.
Right? So my heart obviously wanted to pursue the path of writing.
Right.
I wasn't about to tell my son ki bhuke maro because daddy is discovering himself. Right? So I made sure that I continued working at my job. I resigned only with my second book, so I knew it wasn't a fluke, my first book. I resigned only when my royalty check became more than my salary.
Nice.
Right? And that to me is a lesson of how you should plan your finance. You should plan everything in life. Like be pragmatic.
Right.
Never burn a bridge. You never know when you need to use it again.
Right.
Right.
So you know, Amish, you know what our product categories, right? We cover protection, which is the risk of dying too early. We cover retirement, which is the risk of living too long, and we cover financial savings, long-term financial uncertainty, and all of that. So one of the things that we are going to do as a part of this episode is actually break it up into 3 distinct chapters, where, you know, the whole objective, guys, is to try and understand from Amish what was the ancient, not actually ancient, but Indian philosophy towards financial planning, insurance, and so on and so forth? Let me take the first one, which is perhaps the core, which is the risk of dying too soon, and how term insurance provides a role there. So again, here specifically, Amish, when it comes to buying insurance for yourself, so that there can be something in it for the family after you, how do you think this marries, or this entire category, the mindset needed for a customer to think about life after me for my family? What is the thought process? What is the ancient philosophy towards, how do you think we should decode it? The need for insurance, need for term insurance in the philosophy, against that philosophy?
The key philosophy at the heart of this is, do you think your responsibilities end when you die, right? If your approach is like many of the materialists, and you find them, I lived in the UK for some time, many of the materialists is like, I will enjoy life, I don't really give a damn about anyone else, right? And you find that a lot in the West. Now that doesn't always lead to a stable society, frankly, you can see that in the West. In the Indian way, the approach was that even when you die, right, you go into Pitralok, the land of the ancestors, and 3 generations above you remain in Pitralok. This is one of the philosophies of death, right? There are many other philosophies.
Right.
Only post 3 generations one of them, you know, they can kind of come back to earth if they're going to this world, if they're going to be born again, or they get moksha. Right. Now, the key thing is this. Till those 3 generations in Pitralok are there in Pitralok and you are alive, you actually have a relationship between the two.
The past and the present, or the future.
All of you, you know, the Shraddh period, everyone would be aware of this. What do you actually do out there? You actually do pujas for the benefit of your ancestors who are in Pitralok, right? And they actually help you. So there's actually a relationship. The entire way of life was that the relationship doesn't end just when you die.
Sure.
Right? The relationship with your descendants and your ancestors remains going for a long time. And this is in a way a part of meeting your responsibilities even after you die.
Right.
And if you can do that and make sure that your child, your spouse does not suffer if you just suddenly die, it makes sure, and in our, look, who knows what the truth is, we'll discover only when we die.
Right, right.
How do we know? We don't know what the truth is, we're still here.
Right.
But in this philosophical framework, the key thing is, if you are there in Pitralok and you've made sure that you've met some of your responsibilities, your next journey becomes better. That's the approach.
While term insurance is the most practical first product that any person should take once they start earning or once they have any kind of financial responsibility, that is the one which is the hardest sell, because just to even begin a conversation with, look,
I don't want to talk about death.
Yeah, exactly. Right? So as a category, how do we broach this? I mean, I'm just trying to get some interesting ideas for my next marketing campaign, but still, from an ancient philosophy, how should we get people to even understand that, look, this is going to happen, start preparing for it, it's not a big deal.
It's a relatively modern thing where we see death as something, that we can't talk about it. That wasn't the way it was in ancient times.
Got it.
Right? And if your philosophical approach is, it's not that death means the end of everything. There is actually a life beyond that. And that was our ancient Indic traditions.
Right.
Then death is not something to be so scared of.
Sure.
Right? It's in a way like a much longer sleep. That's all. Right? And you will wake up.
Right.
Again, in Pitralok, or post that, you will be born once again. In the Indian way, if you notice, in some ways, even in Bollywood, our ancient culture still remains alive. Right? Some things don't need to be explained. Like if someone is dying and there's a diya out there.
Yeah, they show the
right?
diya one.
And the diya वो बुझ जाता है.
Right.
And कहीं दूसरे जगह पे दिया जल जाता है. Every Indian viewer knows exactly what has happened.
Yes,
that guy has died, that soul has gone here.
Right.
It's a reincarnation movie.
Yes. Om Shanti Om and all of that.
Exactly.
Yes.
Right. Now, what is the philosophical framework behind that? That life doesn't end with death, right? And if it's in a way, in some ways, is just a longer sleep, then what's there to be so afraid of?
Sure.
Right? It's something that you can discuss, and our ancestors did discuss it. You know, the unfortunate part is we are not taught enough of our ancient philosophical debates and discussions. So we think death is something you cannot speak of. Why not? It's going to happen to all of us, man.
Right.
Right. So if you talk about it, then you can plan it, right? I'm not saying you have to plan your death,
Sure.
but you can plan to make sure that you can still lead a good life.
Got it.
And you can meet your responsibilities even post that death.
Amish, this was totally awesome. Thank you so much, folks, for staying tuned. This is a wrap on our first chapter where we spoke to Amish about what was the ancient Indian orientation and mindset towards term insurance. Stay tuned for chapter 2, where we will look at how the ancients looked at long-term financial planning. See you on the other side.